Hi dear students, in the last presentation we were discussing about the ISO 14001-2015 regulations. Now in this presentation we will be discussing about life cycle analysis or assessment. Okay, so life cycle analysis is also known as life cycle assessment. In simple, it is known as LCA, life cycle assessment. So what is life cycle assessment or analysis? It is there in the name itself. The complete life cycle is analyzed in this process. That is what is known as life cycle analysis. So whether it can be a product or a process, whatever it may be, from the starting point. If it is a product, starting point means extraction of the raw material or the availability of the raw material is the starting point, and the end point is how it is discarded or how the waste is disposed. That is what is the end of the product. So starting from the raw material till the disposal of that particular product or services is complete analysis. The minute analysis of the entire process is known as the life cycle assessment. It's a multi-step procedure for calculating the lifetime environmental impact of a product or services. So actually it is being done to calculate the lifetime environmental impact of a product or services. How this product is going to affect the environment, or how this service will affect our environment. That is what is finally find out doing the life cycle analysis. It is a systematic approach of looking at a product's complete life cycle from the raw material to the final disposal of the product. So starting from the raw material to the disposal of the product, we will be carefully analyzing each and every processes happening in between. Okay, we will be calculating how much energy is absorbed, how much energy is required, and how this particular product or process in each step, even in the production time, we can have some waste products or some environmental impacts will be there. Like that, in each step, what will be the environmental impact of that particular product or process analyzed. So that is what is completely known as life cycle assessment. It offers a cradle to grave look at the product or process. Starting out ending very long. It offers a cradle to grave look at the product or process, considering environmental aspects and potential impacts. Life cycle analysis started in the early 1970s. Initially, this was intended to investigate the energy requirement for the different processes. So that was the initial requirement. In each step, how much energy is being utilized. So of course, the manufacturers will be concentrating how to reduce the energy consumption. So that will be the beneficial for them. So they were initially concentrating, or life cycle assessment concept is introduced just to initially in the 1970s is just to calculate the energy requirements during the various processes. Now the extended version is mandatory now for the most of the firms. That is what is known as life cycle analysis right now. LCA are considered to be the most comprehensive approach to assessing environmental impact. So this is the most comprehensive approach. Unlike the other methods, this is the most comprehensive approach. Why we say so is, in each and every stage we are analyzing the impacts as well as the energy requirements. So altogether, starting from starting point to end point, we are analyzing each and every stage. So this is the comprehensive approach, we can say. In most of the other criteria, what we do is we will be analyzing the final impact only. We are not concentrating on the starting point or in between what is happening. We are not bothering about all these things. But here the complete analysis will be there. Life cycle assessment is part of ISO 14000 standards, and it is specifically addressed in ISO 14040-2006 and ISO 14044-2006. Okay, so these one more thing is there that I will tell you later. So anyway, these two ISO standard clearly describes about this life cycle analysis. The life cycle of a product. So considering a product, the life cycle constitutes 5 basic steps. The life cycle of a product can be divided into 5 phases. So altogether 5 phases are there. First one is extracting process. We'll call it as extracting phase. Extracting, processing or supplying raw material. So in order to have a product, first thing we need is the raw material. So how this raw material is received? It can be either extracted from the atmosphere, from the environment. Like if iron is the raw material, then iron ore is extracted. So mining is the extraction process. So likewise, if we are using wood as the raw material, then we will be directly buying the raw material in that case. So like that, sometimes various processing is required. In the case of iron, as an example, from the iron we can directly produce from iron, or from the ore, iron ore we have to separate the iron, pure iron, that is what is known as processing. So sometimes processing is required. Anyway, all these extracting bar processing bar supplying raw material, all these are related to the initial phase of the product. So that is what is shown here. Simply it is altogether known as resource extraction. So resource extraction means it can be this one, resource extraction. This can be either extracting from the environment, or processing, or supplying raw material. So now comes the manufacturing. Second phase is the manufacturing or production phase. You can see here production or transformation. Production means simply transformation or assembly. The raw material is transformed into the required product. That is what is known as production. So there will be a lot of transformation processes or assembly process will be there. Transformation process means manufacturing process, we will simply call it as. See, from the iron rod we are manufacturing a nut. You might have heard about the nut. If a simple form, that is a nut we are producing, then it requires some operations in the lathe and all. So some material removal process being done. That is what is known as manufacturing. So in that case you can see some material is removed. Sometimes what we will do is, if we have the plenty of raw material, we can directly throw away this waste product removed from the main product as a waste. So in that case, that will be a environmental threat. But if we are closely analyzing, we can reuse it for the again producing the pure iron. So if we are recirculating, if any possibility of reuse or recirculation is there, then definitely we have to do it. So thus that is possible only by the analysis. That analysis is being done through the life cycle assessment. I think now the concept is clear for you. First we will be doing the analysis in the resource or extraction process. In that phase we will do all the analysis, how we can, the aim is how to reduce the raw material, how effectively we can use the raw materials. Then comes the production side, that is production. In that production, transformation assembly is mainly coming. In that side also we will think about how we can reduce the energy, how we can reduce the waste. That is our main concern, or how to minimize the environmental impact. That will be the core of second implementing life cycle assessment. So the third one is putting into circulation. So the next important phase is putting into circulation. Circulation means once the product is produced, we have to carry it to the destination or wherever it is marketing. Everything is to be done. So there comes the important one, that is transportation. Okay, transporting, distributing and marketing efforts. All these are coming together in the third phase, that is putting into circulation. That is what is shown here, distribution. That is the third phase is the distribution phase. In this, logistics and transportation is coming. So of course the manufacturer will be opting for the low cost transportation or logistic methods like shipping. If you compare shipping and the rail transport, sometimes the shipping is the convenient one. If from different countries to country, shipping is the cheap cost one. If within the country, rail transportation will be much effective than the local lorry transportation and all. See, they will be closely analyzing which transportation is the best one, or most probably the bulk transportation will be the effective one, and which will be both economically feasible as well as the environmental impact also will be less. So of course most of the manufacturers will be going for that type of distribution methods. Okay, now coming to the fourth phase, that is use, reuse and produce maintenance. Okay, so then comes once distributed, the people will be using it. So once its use is over, sometimes it may be directly thrown into the environment, so that has to be stopped. So the manufacturer will be always thinking about any possibility of reuse. So use is the next phase, fourth phase. In that, operation, maintenance and finally the reuse will be coming. So initial stage, they will be operating it on, they will be using that product, then they will be maintaining that product. If any possibility of maintaining that product is there, for example, if a TV, if you are buying a TV, if it got some complaint, then two options are there. Either we can replace it by another one, so the entire unit is becoming a waste. If maintaining option is there, we will go for the repairing. If repair and reuse is possibilities there, then we will be going for that one. So that is the difference between operation and maintenance. If maintenance possibility is there, then we have to use that maintenance possibilities. Then comes the reuse. If any reuse possibilities are there, that also is to be done. Okay, that is the core of life cycle assessment. So we will be, by doing the life cycle assessment, they will clearly define after use how it can be reused or how it is being maintained. Everything is being given priority. The final phase is end of the life management. So once everything is over, it cannot be reused, recycled, maintained, everything is over. Now it becomes a scrap material or the waste product. So there also comes the importance of the life cycle assessment. There comes end of life management. How this can be recycled and or disposed. If it is possible to recycle, we will recycle it. Otherwise, we will dispose it. See, recycling, end of the life. So if anything can be reused, that will be carried to the resource extraction phase. That is, instead of using new raw material, we will be using the raw material from the recycled product. Okay, that is the advantage. So in that case, we can reduce the raw material consumption. That is another advantage. So this is the simple steps to explain the life cycle analysis. I will explain once more. First phase is resource extraction, then comes the production, transportation, transformation, assembly, then comes distribution phase. There we will be concentrating on logistics and transportation. Then comes the use phase, in that operation of the product. Then comes the maintenance, and if possible reuse also will be done in the use phase. Then comes the final phase, that is the end phase, is recycling or end of the life. If it is possible to recycle, we will be recycling into the cycle itself. Otherwise, we will be safely disposing. That even that dispose, how we will dispose that material, that also is to be given specified in the life cycle analysis itself. If a product is produced, within the life cycle analysis of that product, how this is to be disposed, that also is to be clearly mentioned. That is what is life cycle analysis. Okay, അതിൻ്റെ ഒരു ഏറ്റവും വലിയ എക്സാമ്പിളാണ് പല ഇലക്ട്രോണിക്സ് കോമ്പണൻസും ഇപ്പോഴും എങ്ങനെ ഡിസ്പോസ് ചെയ്യണം എന്നുള്ളത് ഇല്ല എന്നല്ല. ഈവൻ ലൈഫ് സൈക്കിൾ അസസ്മെൻറ്റ് കൃത്യമായിട്ട് ഫോളോ ചെയ്തിട്ടുണ്ടായിരുന്നെങ്കിൽ അതൊക്കെ ഡിഫൈൻ ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റുമായിരുന്നു. Now comes the methodology. How we will do the life cycle analysis. It is a complex one, not an easy one, and also it is both time consuming as well as cost consuming. So that's why the most of the companies are not ready to follow this life cycle assessment methods. The life cycle analysis can be divided into 4 steps. First one is goal and scope definition. Initially, we have to define the goal and scope of the particular product or services. What will be the intention of this product? That has to be clearly mentioned. Or what will be the intention of these processes? That also be clearly mentioned. That is what is known as goal and scope definition. Initially, we have to define what is the purpose of this product. Okay, so that comes under ISO 14014. The guidelines are clearly described in ISO 14040. So in this goal and scope definition, products or services to be assessed are defined. A functional basis for comparison is chosen, and the required level of details is defined. So everything regarding the product is defined in the initial stage itself. That is goal and scope definition. That is coming under ISO 14014. Then comes inventory analysis. ISO 14041. It is coming under ISO 14041. Guidelines are given there. Those who are interested, they can search it. Analysis of extraction and emissions, and the energy, raw materials used, and the emissions to the atmosphere, water and land are quantified for each process, then combined in the process flowchart, are related to the functional basis. So inventory analysis, that product based analysis is clearly coming here. So here we will be concentrating mainly on the impact of that particular product on the environment. Analysis of extractions and emissions. See, what will be the we will be doing the analysis of extractions and emissions in this stage. So the energy and raw material used, what will be the energy required for the formation of the product, and whatever the raw materials used, that we will analyze. Then we will analyze emissions to the atmosphere. This raw product during the processing stage, what will be the emission to the atmosphere, how the energy used is polluting the atmosphere, everything is analyzed here. Even to the atmosphere, water and land, whatever pollution it is creating, that is clearly analyzed in this step, inventory analysis, and are quantified for each process. So step by step, in the extraction process, this much energy is required, this much pollution will be there, these are the different pollutions. Then comes to the production phase, this much is the energy used, this much pollution will be there, this much is the environmental impact, everything is. So step by step environmental analysis of each stage is done in this stage, that is inventory analysis. And comes the impact assessment, ISO 14042. Now we have done the inventory analysis. Now how this product is going to make an impact on the environment is analyzed in this stage. The effects of the resources use and the emissions generated are grouped and quantified into limited number of impact categories, which may then be weighted for the importance. So some emissions identified during the inventory analysis may not be that much serious compared to the environmental impacts. So that is categorized based on the importance. Sometimes some component will be very harmful for the environment, something is not that much polluting to the environment. So based on the categorization, they will categorize which one is to be stopped with the immense effect, that is to be given priority, and the process or the steps will be taken to reduce the emission of that important category emissions. Okay, so that is what is done in the impact assessment. For that to do impact assessment is required. So if carbon dioxide is produced by a particular product, that will have this much impact on the atmosphere. If carbon monoxide, if some other chlorofluorocarbons are produced, that means that will be affecting the ozone layer. So out of these two, which one is having the most priority, that is to be reduced first. That is what is done by impact assessment. Then comes the improvement assessment or interpretation. That comes under ISO 14043. The results are reported in the most informative way possible, and the need and opportunities to reduce the impact of the products or services on the environment are systematically evaluated. So everything is presented in a report form with the priority in a flowchart manner. That is what is known as improvement assessment or interpretation. So along with the, now by the impact assessment, we have studied everything about the impact of this particular product on the environment. Now our aim is to improve the improvement of the assessment, how we can reduce this impact. That will be our aim in the last step. The results are reported in the most informative way possible, and need and opportunities to reduce the impact. So see, this is the need and opportunities to reduce the impact of the product or service on the environment systematically evaluated. So how we can reduce this environmental impact is being done in this stage. That is the improvement assessment or interpretation. If anything they have found is to be by doing this process we can improve, that is to be added to the cycle. Okay, so by that way corrective way we can call it as, they will be analyzing something, they find that this is the problem, if any solution is there, they will implement that solution. That is what is happening in the last stage. Now coming to the advantages of life cycle analysis. LCS enable manufacturer to quantify how much energy and raw materials are used, and how much solid, liquid and gaseous waste is generated during the entire life cycle and at each stage of the product's life. Okay, so that is the main advantage. We can have a clear idea about how much raw material is required, or how we can optimize the raw material, and what about the solid, liquid and gaseous waste produced by this particular product, starting from the raw material till the disposal. Okay, so throughout this stage, what are the raw materials used and what will be the solid, liquid as well as the gaseous waste generated, we'll have a clear idea and we can optimize this one also. Okay, that's the main advantage of doing life cycle assessment. Of course, it is not an easy method. It helps to reduce the environmental impact of the product or services. Of course, by analyzing only we will have the idea how this product is going to have an impact on the environment. So if it is very harmful to the environment, then we won't even produce that product. That is the another advantage. Improved environmental performance and reputation. So by doing life cycle assessment, of course we are helping our environment. So improved environmental performance and reputation is by LCA. LCAs offer valuable quantitative comparison, assess your product, services, process and against those your competitors. So it will have a qualitative comparison also. See, നമ്മളെ പരസ്യങ്ങളൊക്കെ ചിലപ്പോൾ നിങ്ങൾ കാണാറുണ്ടാവും, ഇന്ന പ്രൊഡക്റ്റിനെക്കാട്ടും ബെറ്റർ ആണ്, നമ്മളിങ്ങനെ എൻവയോൺമെൻറ്റൽ പ്രശ്നങ്ങൾ ഉണ്ടാക്കുന്നില്ല. സോ ഓൾ ദീസ് ഇസ് ഡൺ ബൈ ലൈഫ് സൈക്കിൾ analysis or assessment. So we can have a comparison with the competitors' products. Helps in reduce the cost of product or process in its complete life cycle. So of course cost is reduced by doing the life cycle analysis. See, we will have a clear idea about how to optimize the raw material and how we can reduce the in between cost. Everything is clear by doing this life cycle analysis. So by taking corrective measures, we can of course reduce the cost of product. So coming to the disadvantages, LCS depending on the specific product or process can be very time intensive. See, I have already told it is not an easy process. It is very time intensive process. Performing LCA on a raw material on a new product per process is costly and difficult. See, already we have a life cycle assessment done for a particular product, then we can follow the same method. That is much easier, but for a new product it is very difficult to implement. To make complete LCA, there is a sustainable need for data and specialist knowledge. Of course, specialist knowledge is required those who are experts in this field only can do the life cycle analysis. So that is very important. No impact assessment weighting method is generally accepted. So right now there is no impact weighting method is there, so that is another difficulty. It is often difficult to define the product system boundaries in a consistent way. So that also is the another disadvantage. So it will be very difficult to define the product system boundaries in a consistent way. So it depends on the person to person how is doing the life cycle analysis. So it is not a fixed one, so it varies. So that is another disadvantage. So anyway, that is all about the life cycle assessment. Sometimes for university the question can be like this: some product will be given and you are supposed to do all these life cycle assessment, sample life cycle assessment is to be done. So be prepared with that type of question. അതായത് ചിലപ്പോൾ ഏതൊക്കെ ഒരു പ്രൊഡക്റ്റ് പറയും അതിൻ്റെ ലൈഫ് സൈക്കിൾ അസസ്മെൻറ്റ് നിങ്ങൾ സ്വന്തമായിട്ട് ചെയ്യണം എന്നൊരു രീതിയിലായിരിക്കും ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻ വരിക. അപ്പോൾ അങ്ങനെ വരുമ്പോൾ എന്ത് ചെയ്യേണ്ടി വരും, നിങ്ങൾ ഓൾറെഡി ഏതെങ്കിലും ഒരു പ്രൊഡക്റ്റിൻ്റെ ഒക്കെ നെറ്റിലൊക്കെ സെർച്ച് ചെയ്തിട്ട് ലൈഫ് സൈക്കിൾ അസസ്മെൻറ്റ് ചെയ്തത് എന്താണെന്നുള്ളതൊന്ന് നോക്കി വെക്കുക. ദാറ്റ് വിൽ ബി അഡ്വാൻറ്റേജ് ഫോർ യു. ഓക്കെ, അങ്ങനത്തെ ഒരു ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻ വരുമ്പോൾ അറ്റൻഡ് ചെയ്യണമെങ്കിൽ അതാണ് എളുപ്പം. ഡയറക്റ്റ് ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻസ് ആണെങ്കിൽ ഞാൻ ഈ പറഞ്ഞതൊക്കെ ഓക്കെയാണ്. അല്ലെങ്കിൽ നിങ്ങളൊരു പ്രൊഡക്റ്റിനെ ബേസ് ചെയ്തിട്ട് തന്നെ ഈ സാധനങ്ങളൊക്കെ എക്സ്പ്ലെയിൻ ചെയ്യേണ്ടി വരും. അപ്പോൾ ആ പ്രൊഡക്റ്റ് എങ്ങനെ ഫോം ചെയ്യുന്നതിനെ പറ്റി വ്യക്തമായ ധാരണ നിങ്ങൾക്ക് വേണ്ടി വരും. ഏതൊക്കെ സ്റ്റേജിൽ എന്തൊക്കെ നടക്കുന്നു. ഞാനിപ്പോൾ പറഞ്ഞു, ഒരു നെറ്റ് ഫോർമേഷൻ ആണെങ്കിൽ, നെറ്റ് ഉണ്ടാകുന്ന അയൺ വെച്ചിട്ടാണെങ്കിൽ, MS റോഡിനാണെങ്കിൽ എന്ത് ചെയ്യേണ്ടി വരും, അതെങ്ങനെ ഉണ്ടാകുന്നു, അപ്പോൾ അതിൻ്റെ എക്സ്ട്രാക്ഷൻ ആ മെത്തേഡ് എന്താണ് എന്നുള്ളതാണ് നിങ്ങൾ ഫസ്റ്റ് പറയേണ്ടി വരും. അതിലെന്താണ്, എന്തൊക്കെ എനർജി കൺസപ്ഷൻ വരുന്നു, എന്തൊക്കെ പ്രശ്നങ്ങൾ വരുന്നു, എന്തൊക്കെ എൻവയോൺമെൻറ്റൽ ഇഷ്യൂസ് വരാൻ ചാൻസ് ഉള്ള അതൊക്കെ അവിടെ സ്പെസിഫൈ ചെയ്യുക. പിന്നെ പ്രൊഡക്റ്റ് വൈസ് വരുമ്പോഴേക്കും അവിടെ വരാൻ ചാൻസ് ഉള്ള മെറ്റീരിയൽ ലോസ്റ്റും കാര്യങ്ങളും, പിന്നെ ഏത് മെഷീൻ വെച്ചിട്ടാണോ ചെയ്യേണ്ടി വരുന്നുണ്ടാവുക അതിനെ പറ്റിയിട്ടുള്ളൊരു ധാരണ നിങ്ങൾക്ക് വേണം. അത്ര എനർജി കൺസപ്ഷൻ വേണ്ടി വരുന്നുള്ള കാര്യങ്ങളൊക്കെ പറയേണ്ടി വരും. പിന്നെന്താണ്, പ്രൊഡക്റ്റ് യൂസ് ചെയ്യുന്നു, സ്വാഭാവിക നട്ട് ഒക്കെ മാർക്കറ്റിലേക്ക് എത്തിക്കുന്നത് എങ്ങനെയാണ്, ട്രാൻസ്പോർട്ടേഷൻ എങ്ങനെയായിരിക്കും എന്നുള്ളത് പറയേണ്ടി വരും. പിന്നെ എങ്ങനെയാണ് ആൾക്കാർ ഇത് യൂസ് ചെയ്ത് കഴിഞ്ഞിട്ട് എന്ത് ചെയ്യുന്നു, അത് റീയൂസ് ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റുന്നത് എത്ര കാലം യൂസ് ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റും, അത് യൂസ് ചെയ്തതിന് ശേഷം പിന്നെ എന്ത് ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റും, അതിനെ തിരിച്ച് എന്താ പറയുക, സ്ക്രാപ്പ് നമ്മൾ കൊടുത്തു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ എന്ത് ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റും, അതിനെ റീയൂസ് ചെയ്യാനുള്ള സംവിധാനങ്ങളുണ്ട്. ഇരുമ്പൊക്കെ വീണ്ടും പ്യൂരിഫൈ ചെയ്തെടുത്തിട്ട് വീണ്ടും ഇരുമ്പായിട്ട് തന്നെ മാറ്റുന്ന പ്രോസസ്സ് ഉണ്ട്. അപ്പോൾ അത്തരം പ്രോസസ്സാണ് അതിൻ്റെ ഒരു കംപ്ലീറ്റ് ലൈഫ് സൈക്കിൾ അസസ്മെൻറ്റ് എന്ന് പറയുന്നത്. അപ്പോൾ അതൊക്കെ നിങ്ങൾ സ്റ്റെപ്പ് ബൈ സ്റ്റെപ്പ് ആയിട്ട് ഇങ്ങനെ എന്തൊക്കെ നടക്കുന്നു എന്നുള്ളത് എക്സ്പ്ലെയിൻ ചെയ്യുന്നുണ്ട്. അപ്പോൾ ഓരോ പ്രോഡക്റ്റിനെ പറ്റി ഏകദേശം ഒരു ധാരണ നിങ്ങൾക്ക് വേണ്ടി വരും. ഓക്കെ, ദാറ്റ്സ് ഓൾ അബൌട്ട് ലൈഫ് സൈക്കിൾ അസസ്മെൻറ്റ്. താങ്ക് യു.